Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today, boy oh boy, do we have the interesting little boat get announced today. The day of recording, at least, the 5th of August. And that is the Tier 10 Dutch destroyer Tromp. And wow, they are really swinging for the fences with this one, let me say, with some of the characteristics and some of the how do I put this? Some of the arsenal at the disposal of the Tromp. They let's just get into it, shall we? Now, before we get going, the Tromp, this is of course just getting announced. This is all still in testing, and this is a real still historical ship that served with the Dutch Navy during World War II. Served mostly overseas in Dutch territory in the Pacific. Did get in an engagement with the Asasio, but for most of her World War II career, she was escorting convoys and the like. So, the Tromp, again, it's a real still historical ships. Always very cool when we get to see these historical ships get added to the game. But again, just another reminder, this is in testing. This has just been announced. So, just keep that in mind going forward because, again, some of the stuff they gave this ship is, well, quite frankly, a lot. Alright, so they say, oh, by the way, link to this DevBlog will be in the description down below. I strongly encourage you guys to check it out. We are going to go through most of it in this video, but if you want to double check something, again, link to that is in the description down below. If you want to read along as I read aloud as well, and I will throw the image of it up on screen now. Alright, so it states, a large destroyer leader, officially classified as a light cruiser by the Royal Netherlands Navy, that is armed with 150mm main battery guns. Tromp has access to a wide range of weapons, allowing her to resort to varied tactics in battle. The basis of the ship's firepower is her large caliber, for the ship type, main battery with a good firing range, which is capable of inflicting significant damage to other destroyers or even larger ships. Tromp is equipped with torpedoes with medium speed, damage, and range, but a fast reload time as well as a notably lower count of torpedoes per spread than that of most other destroyers at this tier. In addition to torpedoes, the destroyer's arsenal also includes an HE bomb airstrike, previously seen only on Dutch cruisers. Tromp's airstrike has a short maximum range but a fast reload time. The ship has good concealment and is able to quietly sneak up on the enemy to effectively use airstrikes or torpedoes. While engaging in gunnery combat or when capturing points, you should take into account that the destroyer does not have a smoke generator. The destroyer's consumable supply is limited to an engine boost, which will help it at the right time to temporarily increase the ship's otherwise low speed. You heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. This is a destroyer equipped with an airstrike. The Dutch airstrike. To be precise, it is the same airstrike that you get with the Golden Lion, I do believe. And it reloads much faster than the Golden Lion's airstrike does. So, yeah, we'll read over her. Actually, no, I'll give you my 2 cents on her right now, because I've looked over her stats already. If you don't want to be bored to death by that, I'll just tell you my 2 cents on her here. So, this is a ship with good concealment, that on its base range, by the way, its base detection range is, I think, like 7.5 kilometers, 7.4, something like that. Let me just check that here real quickly. Yeah, 7.3 kilometers is her base detectability range, okay? Her airstrike range is 8 kilometers, which means that when you fully build into this ship, you can stealth drop with these bombers. That's right. Stealth drop. Meaning that the enemy can never know you're there, and you can just drop 2 of these strikes on them on top of their head. Now, granted, this is the same type of airstrike that we see with the Dutch cruisers, and as I'm sure those of you that have played, or if you're watching the battle in the background, you can tell that, yeah, they drop a lot of bombs, but they take quite some time to get to the target, and they drop the parachute. So you really have quite some time before the bombs do drop on your head. But what really helps the Tromp here is that these airstrikes reload in 40 seconds, and she gets 2 of them. So she gets to drop 2 of these airstrikes every 40 seconds. And according to the DevBlog, there's 12 aircraft in the attacking flight. The aircraft have 2,200 HP. There's 6 bombs per payload. So that's 6 bombs per plane. 6 times 12, then times 2. That's a little over 120 bombs every 40 seconds. And the bombs do a maximum damage of 3,700. They pin 20.5 millimeters of armor, and they have a 21% chance of causing fire on the target. So, yeah, they don't have the best pin in the world, but 21% fire chance over 120 bombs and 2 strikes. You're going to be setting quite a bit of ships on fire. Now, what's really funny too is first when I read this, I just thought, well, there's a lot of times in like clan battles and in competitive gameplay when 2 DDs go to the same cap and there's like an island in the middle of the cap, they both just nose into it or curl up next to it and just sit there and normally just proximity spot one another and hope that the other's team can do something about that DD before the enemy team can do something about their DD. So like they'll wait for their team to flank to the other side and be able to squeeze in those shots and shoot the DD that's hugging the island. But the Tromp is just like, all right, you're gonna sit there, enjoy this little bit of elvish rolling thunder, you know. Now the Dutch airstrikes, they're not really the best at doing damage. It's more of a tactical armament that you use to strongly encourage somebody to move, because if you don't move and you do eat all those bombs, yeah, you're gonna be feeling it quite hard. Yeah. But man, that's just crazy they're giving this to a DD and saying, yeah, you can stealth drop these on top of players' heads. That's a bit. Now, let's look at the rest of the ship to see what they did to her to compensate for this. So she has 24,500 hit points, 19mm plating, no surprise there, it's a tier 10 DD. The 3x2 150s have a firing range of 13.3 kilometers base, so you can get that out to about 15-ish, 16-ish kilometers with a full build. The HE does a maximum damage of 2,150. The HE, without IFHE, can pin 25mm of armor. They have an 11% chance of causing fire on the target. And the HE comes out the tubes at 900 meters a second. The AP does 3,000 maximum damage. That's, of course, citadel damage. And it, too, comes out the barrels at 900 meters a second. The guns reload in 8 seconds base. They have 180 turn time of 18.0 seconds. Maximum dispersion of 114 meters and 2.0 sigma. So you can see right there that the guns already, they aren't the fastest firing guns at tier 10 in terms of DDs. Aren't those, you know, they're among the slower DD guns. But thankfully, it's not like another Ragnar on our hands here, you know? So, you know, it's kind of been bonked in that regards. Now, the torpedoes, she only has 2 sets of tubes, and there are only 3 torpedoes per set of tubes. And they have a maximum damage of 13,700. Very pan-European right there. They have a range of 10 kilometers. Again, not the furthest, not the shortest. A speed of 64 knots. Pretty decent speed. And a reload time is 70 seconds. So, just like they said, it's got a mid-range damage, mid-range range, and it's middle on the upper side of speed. Again, not blazingly fast like the Pan-Euros, but not painfully slow like the sea mines that the German DD split get. And they reload in 70 seconds, so, you know, that, again, this is base. You can build into this and get those torpedoes reloading probably darn near a little bit under 60 seconds if you want to do like a full build. So, yeah, oh, and they're detected from 1.3 kilometers in the water, so again, not spotted from the moon, but not exactly stealthy either. And the DD has a maximum speed of 33.5 knots, a turning circle radius of 720 seconds, a rudder shift time of 5.3 seconds, like we said already, 7.3 kilometer detection range. And you get damage con and an engine boost. You don't get a heal. I don't think there's any way you can get a heal on this ship. I don't think any of the Dutch special commanders reward you with a heal, if I'm remembering correctly. So, overall, I was really worried when this ship was first announced, when I first started getting the messages for it in Discord. I still think it's going to be a very strong DD. I mean, again, it's a DD with 150mm guns that has quite a bit of utility to it. That airstrike consumable is armament is going to be so useful in competitive when it comes time to contesting caps or ships that are hugging islands, because the Golden Lion, for what it's worth, the Golden Lion does, of course, have the airstrikes, but she has a much longer reload time on her airstrikes. But the ship herself isn't really that great for competitive. Don't get me wrong. I love the Golden Line. I love playing this thing at randoms. It's a fun ship. It's got some good HE. It's some good AP and some very good AP up close. I mean, it's the Elvish Scharnhorst, if you will. I love playing the thing at randoms, but in competitive, it's just too squishy. It's way too easy of a target. It's got the battleship burn time on it too, so it doesn't do that well in competitive. So you haven't really seen it too much in competitive. So you can't really use the airstrikes in competitive, at least at tier 10. And the tier 7 and 8 Dutch cruisers aren't much better. The D7's pretty nice, won't lie. But anyway, this is going to be, I think, a pretty, I mean, at least from what we've seen here, a pretty good ship for competitive. Because again, you can, in those situations when you have two DDs just hugging the other side of the opposite side of an island and staring at each other through assured detect, just drop it on them. They either have to move or they're going to get eviscerated by those bombs. So it's going to be a very tactical tool. The rest of the ship, I think they've done a pretty good job of compensating for the airstrikes by having, an 8-second reload, only 6 torpedoes on the entire ship, no heal, no smoke, no hydro, no anything but an engine boost, no DFAA. That's all the ship has, an engine boost and a damage con. This has got to be one of the least equipped DDs at tier 10 in terms of consumables, because DDs are normally like Swiss Army knives. They can do a bit of everything. They can spot. Some of them have hydro, some of them have radar now, smoke screens for concealment for you and your team, but all this DD has is an engine boost, again, and the airstrike. So I think they did a pretty good job compensating for that. But this is a ship I will follow with very, very, very great interest, because it's again, a pretty interesting move. It's kind of weird, too, because the whole logic behind the Dutch cruisers getting the airstrike is that they were mostly going to be operating off the coast of the Netherlands, and the Tromp spent most of its time in the Dutch colonies in like the Indian Sea and out west. So yeah, but anyway, it's an interesting concept. We'll see how it goes, and I can't wait to hear more. And I would very much like to see this in action and see what she's like with a full build and all specced out and such. So anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think about the Tromp in the comments down below. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 40,000 subs, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.